Hello, it's February 2022, and this video is somewhat inspired by, I guess you can call it a conversation that I had with someone when I was sharing with them a topic of skip tracers, and it had to tie in with a police chief in a city in Canada working with the banks and online fundraising platforms to cut off their funding supply, specifically with the protests of rubber, as I'll call it as a descriptive. And a lot of people don't realize when it comes to, for example, with the banks, and well, this actually kind of reminds me with this topic of skip tracing when I was practicing law as agent. I process served on the side, and when you're process serving, you have the status of a peace officer, and I actually had someone charged for assaulting a police officer, me, during a serve, and that was an actual assault on me. And it was winter time, was outside on like this old rickety stairs, like metal stairs, and I turned around to leave, and they tried to push me down the stairs. Luckily, I grabbed onto the railing and saved myself, and that was the only time that I ever had someone charged. There was other times that I could have had people charged, but unlike, for example, police who totally misuse assaulting a peace officer, a police officer. Never did. It only did that one time, and that person ended up pleading guilty and whatever. But anyway, that's another story. And so, yeah, I used to process serve and do stakeouts and dress up to fit a role, say, of a delivery person or whatever, and just embedding myself into someone's life, trying to get the serve done. And it's amazing how this type of thing happens all the time. Maybe not to that extent because it's not necessary, but the really hard serves, which is the ones that I usually did, involved a lot. So so I have some experience with all that. But anyway, that kind of ties in with skip tracers. And I remember, well, when you're doing a lawsuit, like when litigating for the top 5 banks, credit grantors, prime, subprime, there's 2 parts to a lawsuit. There's getting to judgment and then enforcement of judgment. And usually getting to judgment was the easy part. Enforcement of judgment, which is basically collecting on the judgment, that's the more challenging part. And sometimes you would have to use skip tracers to find the person and find out their banking information and their whereabouts and everything else. And it was spooky how much information these people were able to obtain about people's banking, for example, and how easily it was to infiltrate that and find out they have deposits, scheduled deposits, for example, and then you go with that to collect the money and everything else. And sometimes you get tip-offs. Family member may have passed away, there's an inheritance coming in, and all the safety precautions and privacy really just relates to the common person, but when you step outside of that, above that, doesn't seem like that applies. And I'm not saying this about all skip tracers. I can only speak on the few that I've used throughout that career of mine. Really, really spooky stuff. And even going back to process serving and doing stakeouts and surveillance of properties and stuff, getting license plates from vehicles that are parked, say, in the driveway or even on the street or close by, trying to find out who those vehicles belong to, find out patterns and everything else, and making a phone call to find out information. And that's the world that everyone lives in. Kind of spooky, really, but that all goes into, I've highlighted over many years how CPIC, which is a police computer database that they have in their vehicles, for example, that they can pull up people's criminal histories and everything else. And I've highlighted over the many years, even using independent evidence to support this from government officials, saying that CPIC is broken. These computer police databases in every country, everywhere, has the same type of thing. Canada's called CPIC. And how there's even inaccurate or even false information on these police databases about people. And there's been articles over the years where people have lost jobs or lost job opportunities because criminal record check, and poof, there it is, and people don't understand why. They don't have a criminal record. And you have to think about, when you're looking at these police computer databases, they can type in, if they don't like you, or they have a bad day, or maybe you are having a bad day, and tick them off, whatever, that's put in, and there's nothing you can do to change that. So I've talked about this extensively in other videos over the years, as I said. And when it comes to these skip tracers, when the funding was blocked through this police chief, their efforts, it didn't surprise me at all, because you have to know how the whole system works. The system that's over and above what the common people are used to, or what they think it is. So it didn't surprise me at all. And finding out where money, so they can take a campaign money, find out who is getting what, go into their bank accounts, and just literally find out that transaction that you made at the grocery store may only show up X amount of dollars on your statement, yet you shopped there, but everything that was scanned throughout that transaction is cataloged. Crazy stuff. And this is one of the things, I don't want to talk about current worldwide events and what's being imposed too much, because whatever, I've addressed that before. But not only the generational commitment that these people who are imposing everything have, but they have the infrastructure and resources to support whatever it is they want to oppose. And a lot of people, they're delusional. And people talk, for example, about laws and constitutions. These things were given to the people by the very people imposing. And I talked about this just in a previous video, how they make up the rules as they go, if needed. Not much you can do about it. And it is what it is. So I just thought I'd quickly skim over skip tracing, banks, shared a little personal story about process serving and how that works, and make another mention about how these police computer databases are broken. They call it broken, but they're working as they should be. And I know over the years I've referred to police computer databases as their own social media network, how they communicate with each other about an individual. Anyway, for whatever it's worth, take from it what you will. And thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, when is it going to get easier? When you die.